Hi, everyone. I am here to talk about the Best Man final chapter. So I enjoyed it. It is on Peacock, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. Best Man came out when I was a freshman in college, and I'm going to tell you that one of the beautiful things about watching Best Man is I watched it if I'm not mistaken, I think at in LA. Well, I guess it's Hawthorne, um, the South Bay Galleria, and it was, it's one of those places where it's you watch it amongst a great number of Black folks, and you're going to get. I don't know if I watched it there, but anyway, wherever I watched it amongst a number of Black folks, and so it was the. I'll never forget the altar scene. And then when you hear everybody around going, that is the best thing about it. And so I was excited when Best Man Holiday came out. Of course, I was there, crowded, same, um, you have these same types of reactions that takes place throughout the movie. And to me, I know that The Best Man didn't have a huge number of people who came to watch it, but to me, I feel like it was a cult classic amongst us, the crew, amongst us folks. And so when they finally decided to come out with another, this series, I was looking forward to it. And so for Peacock, I watched it. I binge watched the whole thing, and I was just like, uh, this can't be it. I know it says last chapter, final chapter. I'm just like, but are we really real? And and I don't know if it's because when I first watched this film, I was, I think, 18 when Best Man came out. I think I was 18. But now that I am 40, I was I 18 or 17? Maybe 17. Now that I am 40, I have a different idea. I never thought that, first of all, my favorite character is Robin. I'm a huge Sanaa Lathan fan. And um I did not think that Sanaa Lathan should have gotten married to Harper. I think that Harper was trash then. I think that Harper was trash then for how do you, because I can't fathom sleeping with my best friend's um, girlfriend, even if they split, or I couldn't fathom sleeping with my best friend's husband, boyfriend, if they went on a split, and then they're getting married, and I'm going to be the best. I could not fathom this, right? And so then you're going to write about it in a book. Lance is a better person than me because so this whole thing was kind of cool, and this whole thing was kind of like fabricated, made no sense to me. But what I absolutely could not even, I can kind of see how Jordan would still stay in the friend group. Like, why should they dissolve the friend group? Jordan and Harper not be friends, even though they've always had this sense of attraction. It just never was the right time at the right place. But I was upset that Jordan was trying to hook up with Harper, knowing that he had a girlfriend. And the fact that Harper was willing. And then you still have this same situation where Harper kind of comes back into Jordan during this Best Man series and at a vulnerable spot within the marriage. And the problem that I have is that, to be real, Harper proposed to Robin out of pride. I don't believe it was about love. I believe that it was much more of a pride thing. And Robin really did believe that it was love. And I am glad that Robin found herself and found the strength to be like, I'm not playing this pony dance, this game with you. And nor should she be even more disrespected consistently by Harper. And I knew that the relationship was over when she wanted this store. You know that you guys are like you she wanted this store, this not store, but she wanted this restaurant, and he said I'd call, and then he doesn't. The fact that he would pick up and bounce and go writing, which I don't have a problem with, but the fact that he would do so for so freaking long and without any regard to what she's doing, her dream, her want, her thought, like not give her a break. Just leave the kid with her and bounce because I need to write. I I find that to be incredibly selfish. And I am not saying that I wouldn't do the same, but actually I wouldn't. Um, and I could see if my husband left for some time because of work, but I think this is where the level of selfishness, like you even calling to be like, hey, I'm dad, hey, FaceTime me with the kids, like that's not being here consistent. And if I have to be here doing this on my own alone, then what do I need you for? And the things that she's asking for you to step in to do, you can't even do it. You couldn't even pick up the phone to try to make her dream come alive when she's sitting here taking care of the kid while you're off living your dream. And then you insult her on top of that by having to be in this friend group with this chick that wants to be with you. Like I just can't. I can't. Harper is trash, and I don't wish you well. And then talk, trying to be like, well, you can't. I'm not sure if I'm a fan of the fact that she left to go to Ghana, but um, you know, I can understand that she's finally putting herself first because her ex-husband was not. Um, Lance, I'm so excited that he evolved. But I'm gonna tell you, one of the best things that I do like um is when the conversation with LJ and his evolution of him trying to of him finally coming into himself, and when they had that whole conversation about he is non he said, what is non-bindering? That was funny. So I appreciate that conversation because that is it's okay to ask questions. And the issue where we have is that it's when people have to get into this understanding, and I've had this conversation myself with other people, and trying to explain that I do think that when you're a parent, you have all these expectations. And if your parent, and as parents who may be heteronormative, we believe our children are going to be in binary, these same binaries, either male or female, and you expect them to kind of go that heteronormative way. And when they don't, that there is a whether we want to acknowledge it, um, there is something that we have to adjust to in our head and also in our heart, that our kids are not how we anticipate for them to be. And therefore we have to and then we make this adjustment in our head. What does this now mean? It it specifically means that maybe I'm not going to have the same kind of future that I expect for my children to have because of X, Y, and Z. And for some parents, that's harder to process. For others, it's not that hard to process. And so you say things like, oh, it's going to be a phase, or it's not going to be that big of a deal, or you say all of these things because you're hoping to continue to keep this dream that you have alive. But on the other hand, the issue is it's better if you process that and deal with it however you seem fit. But you also have to accept your child. And because there's some dire consequences. Do you want to, you're at the end of the day, you should want your kids to be alive and healthy and happy. And I think that is the most important thing. Alive, healthy, and happy. And it's nice that we are able to see the actual evolution out of Lance that most parents have to come to. And a lot of people don't want to see that progression. They want to just see complete acceptance when that's not realistic. Parents do have to process this and then hopefully they come to this point of acceptance, because I want my kids to be happy, healthy, and safe. I want them to stay alive. And there's a lot of children, young adults, who commit suicide, and all of these things because of the fact that they're not meeting their parents' expectations. They're not what they would consider, what society may consider normal, when in fact it is normal, but it's not what society standards are. So I appreciate them throwing this into the show. I thought it was really important. I think that it was hard for me to finally get to see how I was really heartbroken seeing Lance go out of control, because I just didn't see that he would be that out of control after the last movie. He seemed to be really kind of embracing Godfather role of Harper's child. So I didn't think that he was going to go buck crazy, but I'm glad that he finally found himself and decided to kind of put his kids first. And he finally got with the woman who began to start challenging him and accepting, and gave him, space and listen to him. So I thought that was really great. I really liked, I really like Terrence Howard and his role. That he is always a delight in this show. Like, he is the one that is hilarious, funny, brings it together. But Regina Hall and her husband, I was married. When I started when I started working on my PhD, I was not married. By the time that I was writing my dissertation, I was married. And I got married right at the beginning of writing my dissertation. And I know that I would have finished it if I wasn't married. But I can understand how my husband didn't understand. So I am related to Regina Hall's character, a lot, because I was like having my husband absolutely did not understand, and he was trying to have his level of understanding, but some of it, and his definition of being supportive. But at the same token, I did think that Regina Hall's character was leaning a little bit too, she was a little bit more, I think that she dropped the ball a lot. And one of the things I didn't understand is her husband was like deciding to do MMA fighting. I'm gonna let you know right now. My husband comes home with a black eye. I notice. My husband, like if he's working out, I'm gonna notice. Like I just can't understand how he's doing something like that and nobody notices. I don't get it. And so therefore, um, that seems strange to me. So, that somebody had to text her and let her know like you need to come. But I just find that to be very, very strange. The sexual assault thing I thought was important, and that has never happened to me. But I know that that does happen. And I think that is an important conversation to have. But I do think, and this is very true, when it comes to sometimes people on your committee, sometimes who your advisor is, it needs to be changed, it needs to shift. And that is absolutely true. And so for that part, I absolutely understand and totally got with. The thing that made me the saddest about this whole show is that, sorry, the thing that made me saddest about this whole show is that it ended. I want another season. Like this can keep going. It's so well done. It's so good. And for them to just kind of walk away, I'm just like, no, please stop. No, stop. Come back. Please come back now. Yes. So please watch Peacock. Please watch Best Man. And I hope that they do decide to come back. With that, on another note, have a great rest of your holiday.